everybody, I am Tommy, and you're on the Love Boat. What's happening? This, as most of you know, is SNZ. This is Squirrel Nut Zipper. She is the expat kitty cat. And she's having a good time. Joan, how are you? Monk. Hey, Sammy Sue, good to see you. Kristen Melinda, what's happening? Hey, Susan Scozy, I'm glad that you're here. Clifton Ferguson, what's happening? I'm sorry, am I ignoring you, kitty? Don't give me that look. We're friends. She's, I got to be cool to her. Lisa Dremel, good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. This cat has been so mean to me for the last maybe that's an exaggeration.
3 days.
3 days she has been giving me the furry cold shoulder like you don't know, because I go out that door every day, right? I go to get coffee. I go to get ceviche. We go to the beach. I walk around. We go to our new house. And every time I go out that door, Squirrel's like, so we got this huge house and I'm stuck in one room. I don't think she completely understands the hotel concept, because if you could see this place from the outside, like when you walk in, you walk up a stairway. It's not get her off of her. Oh, that's okay. She's licking her. Squirrel has gotten to the point now where she's like, when we had the big house, Squirrel would the two of them would roll around and fight on the floor. And, Squirrel's 4 years old. It's like doing time. You know what I mean? Yeah, see? That's right, Squirrel. Slapper. It's like doing time. When the bus comes in and there's 25 guys that get off of it and like 10 of them are under the age of 25, you're like, oh, God, here we go, man. There's just something, and I'm not busting on young. Yeah, I am. I'm busting on young kids, and I can get away with it because I don't have one subscriber under the age of 30. So, there's nobody even here to offend, right? Except when Spanx Calhoun shows up. He is over 30. God almighty, he is, isn't he? Hello, DS Diane. Kitty, how are you? Hey, Lilac Lime. Good to see you. Boy, my eyes are getting worse, or these glasses are not working as well as they used to. I do believe that they may wear out. Taylor Miller, how are you? So good to see you. Hey, Brock Bandy. There you are. Jane Aldrich. Riley's human. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Jordan. Is that Angel? Yeah. See, I am blind, man. This is bad. Lisa Flame, some of it too might be the lighting. It's not like
a lot of it's the lighting.
It is, isn't it? You saying that to make me feel better?
No, make me feel better.
Man, oh man. I swear to you, it's like my eyes aren't working anymore, man. Hey, Barbara. Good to see you. Terry McMullen. What's happening, my man? Good to see you. Angel, good to have you. Whine a little bit more. Hey, Barbara. We saw Smokes. V-Bombs from New York. Not just from New York. She's from Hicksville.
Who?
Yeah.
Who is?
V-Bombs. Last night in the chat, she said
she said Long Island. I didn't think Hicksville. She said,
or Oyster Bay. It was no, she said Hicksville.
That's crazy.
Oh, no, she didn't. You know what she said? Cold Spring Harbor. But either, right in the same place. Right in the same place. Hey, Noel, good to see you. Is that Relatable Reese? Relatable Reese. Welcome to the Lifeboat. That's right. She's got Rocket Queen. Welcome back. Good to see you. All right, people. Jordan, glad that you're here. Jeremy Fowler's here. Noel, we have a good squad tonight. Hello, Noel. Tony Zuder. Hi, Tommy. YouTube is like a freeway tonight. Hi, everyone. It really is, isn't it? But we're going to have a fun show tonight. But before we get going, every once in a while, hey, honey, she's in Hicksville. Yeah, I was right the first time.
Wow.
Where our family's from. Levittown, the very first master plan community in the United States of America. The Levitt brothers built their Levittown townhomes. You know what's funny? Now you're clearing up and I'm stuffing up. It's that damn thing. Yep. DNV, good to see you. So the Levitt brothers built the very first master plan community in the world in New York, and it was called Levittown. My mother was a lifeguard at the Levittown pool. Her father was a professor, right? And her mother worked for Ma Bell, right? The telephone company. She was an operator, this kind. Click, like you'd have to literally like pick up the line and plug it in. And they bought that house in Levittown. Are you ready? They bought that house in Levittown for $7,280. Holy crap. It's like buying a place down here. The money used to go a lot further back then. It really did. Hey, honey, how are you? Glad that you're here. It's going to be a fun one. Before we get going, If somebody does something that blows you out of the water, if somebody does something that just stands out or is so different, if you don't take the time to mention it, then you're probably not such a good person. So if we could all just do me a favor, put a 2 in the chat, right? If you're impressed at the fact that Johnny Scoville got through a show without crying. I'm sorry, but it has been a hot minute, hasn't it, bro? Johnny got through a show without crying. Can we get some deuces for that? I am proud of him. I am proud of him. Hey, Barbara Aldrich, I hope that everything is going well. I hope everything's going well. I pray for that every day. I hope your eyes are doing well. Hey, Chill, good to see you. If I've never said hi to you, Chill74, I'm glad that you're here. Rosemary Vecchio, glad that you are here. I am, people, a content creator. I guess that's technically, like if somebody says, what do you do for a living? I guess I would probably say that I am a content creator. And Rocket Queen, just for old time's sake, I did always go, here I am, your Rocket Queen, oh yeah. Rocket Queen, still sober, still killing it, proud of you. I really am, I'm proud of you. You were born in Queens, nice. Johnny was born in New York, as was every other member of my family. No joke, right? Anybody that's alive in my family, and I'm talking about anywhere, right? Either side, they were all born in New York, and then they scattered to the four winds. I've never been treated as well because apparently, because I wasn't born in New York, I was always shunned. I'm kidding. I was treated great, but I was not born in New York. Tommy and Johnny and Reese too. Is that Renee Rainbow? Renee Rainbow, good to see you. So I spent hours today. I kid you not. I spent hours of my life trying to figure out where I blocked, trying to figure out where the people I blocked went to, right? When you block somebody, they got to go somewhere, right? I have blocked thousands of people. Now I haven't. I mean, I usually the wrenches get rid of them before I ever even see the stuff. But damn, you guys did a lot of blocking. And there are people blocked who just aren't there. I mean, I went through 9 times. Then I said to Johnny, I'm a screw up. You got to go through this, man. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Johnny went through it. I said, maybe we're doing this. So here's what we want, right? If you want to come back and I can't unblock you, then just get any account, man. You can make a sock account. You can make a second account. It'll take you about 10 minutes, right? And if your name was, Bob's, Garage, put AKA Bob's Garage or Bob's Garage 1. Reese says it's a glitch. I know that Reese has tried to do the same thing too, because there's all kinds of love that has been coming back to the world. I don't know what happened to Goldie. In fact, I'm not sure who Goldie is. Was Goldie on my channel? Was that somebody that was here? If so, I really apologize. And I bet if she was, I probably just offended the crap out of her. But you know what? It goes really quick. And I tend to lose people. My eyes have sucked my entire life. However, they definitely got worse with age. Picking up new glasses from Costco mañana. It's been a few years. I saw a sign with my brother Johnny the other day. We were walking. And there was a sign that said, eye exam and 1 pair of glasses, $12.95. Yeah, I kid you not. I said to him, it's got to be a joke, right? I want to go in and just to see if it's actually real, right? She was a mod here? I had a mod named Goldie? No. I promise you, I promise you, I never, maybe she was a mod somewhere else. She was a mod on my channel? All right, I am absolutely.
No, not here on Reese's.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah, do you hear this? This is actually one of the greatest sounds ever because these are little kids. And last night I watched these kids for probably 30 minutes and they play hide and seek with their mother. And the lobby has got a ton of furniture, some really nice leather stuff. And there's a lot of places for kids to hide. I look back at hide and seek and I thought I hid, right? Were we always visible? Because these kids, like, and the mother counts, uno, dos, tres, right? And then she goes looking for them and then they squeal with laughter. And I watched it for about 30 minutes. And you know what, folks? I've been going through a lot. And you guys know that. But I've been going through more that has nothing to do with any of that, right? Really. This learning who I am thing, the part of the whole recovery thing that I've never talked about on here, maybe because I didn't understand it, maybe because they don't cover it in books. But if you spend 3/4 of your life doing dope, you lie to a lot of people about a lot of things, and it becomes a habit. And when you break the habit, there's a residual. There's some crap that gets left on you. The possibility of going back and apologizing to all of the people that you lied to is an impossibility. And maybe this happens to everybody in recovery, right? Maybe you just get to a point where you say, it's really time that I start looking at who I am. And I thought I had peeled the onion plenty, but I don't think I have. Could I get some thoughts and prayers for my 2-week-old nephew? We just found out he needs a liver transplant. Absolutely. Can we get some ones? And I'm just going to say this. Of all of the things to need a transplant for, thank God it's a liver, right? Thank God it's a liver, because it is the only organ, as many of you know, where you can do a lobal transplant, which means a person can give up a piece of their liver and they can take that. So when it's, hey, Chicka Cherry Cola, whenever it is, hey, Dope Nose, whenever you're doing this, especially for a child, they can take this much off an adult's liver and it will grow into a full liver, even in an adult. It's called a lobal transplant. And I knew this because I lost a friend. I lost a neighbor. He was really more of a friend of my family's. Hey, Yukon Cragnelius. I know that reference and I love that, man. I love that. It's a great reference. I love the name. I really do. That's awesome. I had a neighbor that was that when I lived in Reno, and I don't know how he made his money, but he, in his older age, he gambled on horses, and he did this at sports books. And I was a drug addict, and I spent a lot of time in casinos meeting people who sold dope. That was just kind of where you met people. So I used to run into this guy in casinos all the time, and every time I saw him, I would run over to a slot machine. You don't want to look like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just waiting for somebody in there, and we struck up conversations, and I went to a couple of different parties in the neighborhood that he was at. And then one day they said he'll be dead by Christmas. His liver was shutting down on him. And I don't know what the story was. I don't know if it was alcohol or anything else. And I said to my parents, you know, there's nobody in this neighborhood that could get him a lobe. It's not like you even got to give up your whole liver. And apparently, you know, that wasn't happening. Tony Suter, I'm so glad you're here. So, hey, Natalie, I went over and knocked on the door and said, hey, man, if I can give you a lobe of my liver, I'll do it. And I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm not. And part of it is just that I'm that dude. Like that would be a hell of a story, right? That would be an adventure and it would be a hell of a story. Unfortunately, I have hepatitis C. And although I have been, it's a non-active form of hepatitis C. What that means is even if you go and you get Harvoni or you get, what was the one before that was so awful? Interferon, right? Or any of the treatments to cure hep C. You still are not usually you're not an option for a transplant. And the truth is, I've never been treated. When I was in prison, it's $80,000, by the way. I don't know if that's changed, but when I was in prison, it's $1,000 a pill, and it's 80 pills, right? So 80 grand. And the government straight doesn't give a crap, right? They don't, honestly. They bought this for the military because apparently in Afghanistan, a lot of guys were shooting dope, which makes a lot of sense because there's heroin everywhere in Afghanistan, right? It's like the heroin capital of the planet. And they shared needles, and a lot of guys got sick. So they bought enough doses to cure everybody in the military, but not everybody in the military had it. So they started to give it to the people in the prison system. And if you went into them and said, I want to be treated for my hepatitis C, 1 out of 4 people in federal prison, men's federal prison, 1 out of 4 has hep C. So I went in and said, I would like to, I can see you now. I can see you now. And I'm happy about it.
No way.
How about that? How about that? And thank you for doing that for me. You know what really chaps my backside, though? That took you 4 minutes. So if there's anybody else out there, please do what Renee B just did, because I'm not that bright. Or there's a glitch. I don't know. I really don't, one way or the other. But I found out I had hep C. Right. And the way I found out, so in federal prison, you do what's called a call out. Every single morning, you have to check the call out sheet. I'm really happy you're here, Renee B. I really am. I love you. I'm glad you're here. You check the call out sheet. And if your register number is on the call out sheet, you go down to medical or you go down to wherever the call out is. So I went down and they said, I said, what can I do for you? It was at medical. They said, we're going to test your blood. I said, okay, what are we testing it for? And they were testing it for like 50 things, right? But the top two on the list are HIV and hepatitis C. And I said, how long does it take to get the news back? And the woman said, no news is good news. If you don't hear from us, within 3 or 4 weeks, we'll mail the results of like what your Billy Rubin and like all of the other stupid stuff that isn't all that important, right? The two at the top were the ones that scared the crap out of me because I used intravenous needles. And for years now, I never shared a needle. I didn't, right? Except with a wife who I shared needles with for I don't know how many years, right? I figured we were sharing a lot of other stuff, probably wasn't going to be an issue. But I also assumed that she was never going to be doing it without me. But I would go to work for 6 hours a day. So once you get in prison, you start getting paranoid, right? And they took my blood and they took it on a Thursday, right? And these SOBs put me on the call out list for Friday, right? No, I'm sorry. They took it on a Friday. So Saturday, I'm on the call out list, but you can't go to medical on Saturday. So I had to wait all day Saturday, all day Sunday, right? Until Monday morning. And I'm in there going, oh God, I've got HIV. Like there was just not a doubt in my mind. It had to be that, right? And it just scared the crap out of me for days. I didn't sleep. I was miserable. And I got up there and the woman she's reading down through all the stuff and it's on a computer, right? And I'm trying to like turn and look at it. And she's like, this count is at that. And this thing is at this many parts per million. I said, I said, look, do I have HIV? Like I've been stressing all weekend. She goes, no. I said, oh, thank the Lord. And she starts going through the rest of the stuff. And she goes, and your Hep C numbers. And I go, I have Hep C. And she goes, oh, did you not know you had that? And I was like, is there anything else you assume that I know I have that could kill me? And she said, you must have just gotten it because your numbers are so low, right? And over time, they test you all the time. So I was in the SHU, and I've told the story a bunch about being in the SHU. It's where I met the guy that I'm no longer hanging out with. We did 7 months together in there. But they took my blood, and they came by to talk to me, or they pulled us out. And I went downstairs, and they said to me, the infected number, right, of your blood for the hepatitis C is at 27,000. Now, that scared me more than anything I had ever heard in my life. 27,000 parts per million scared the ever-loving crap out of me. And I went upstairs and I got all these other guys. I had 3 people living in a 2-man cell. And I said, man, my Hep C count went up, and it went up huge because the first time they tested it was like 2,000 or something. And one of the guys said, where are you at? And I was like, it's like 27,000 and some change or something like that. And he goes, are you being an asshole? And I said, if I am, I'm not trying to be. I said, why? He goes, I'm at 11 million. And I went, ew. And he's like, yeah, you don't have to worry at all if you're that low. He's like, you got nothing to worry about. Well, when I got to the next prison, I went in and I said, I want Harvoni, because when I get on the street, I'd have to come out of pocket, right? Or I'd have to get insurance or whatever that was going to do it. This is 80 grand. So I said, I want to be treated for this stuff. And the doctor said to me, it's going to do more damage to your body, right? You're just not, your numbers don't justify us treating you. And I said, well, that's not what it says on the sheet. It says if you have it and you want it gone, I'm like, I'll take some damage. I want this crap gone. And he said, yeah, we're not going to do it. Plain and simple. So when I got to the next prison, I said the same thing. I want to be treated. And I had to go to another prison because I got a fight or whatever. I got shipped off. But I got to the next prison. I said, could you treat my Hep C? And the doctor said to me, you spontaneously healed. Does that sound like bullshit to you? Because it sure as hell did to me. I said to him, I've spontaneously healed. He goes, yeah. And I said, so I have nothing. He goes, no, I can see that you have it. I absolutely can see that you have it, but you spontaneously healed. And I said, I'm not sure I believe that's a thing, right? Because they lie to you about a lot of stuff when you're incarcerated. I mean, they really do. They lie. Like they kept pulling my teeth saying, we don't fill teeth. Then I get to fillings. I get to the last place and the woman's like, you want me to fill the cavities you got? Or I said, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, they have pulled 4 of my teeth. What do you mean filling? She goes, no, you get them filled. They were probably just lazy. Ugly, right? But they said you spontaneously healed. So when I got out of the joint, I went and I saw a real doctor. No disrespect to anybody that works in a prison, but I went and saw a real doctor. And I said, you know, in the BOP, Bureau of Prisons, they told me that my Hep C spontaneously healed. It's gone. And I said, which I don't believe happens. And the guy goes, oh, no, it does. And I said, for real? He goes, absolutely, it happens. About 1 in 500,000, apparently. That's the number he gave me. I don't know if that's, but he said about 1 in every 500,000. And he said, and you absolutely have. He said, you know, your numbers are where they never went up. So if you test me, I'm still in that 27,000. It just never has gone up. It's never going to. But you can see that I had been infected. And one of the only other people that ever used a needle after me spontaneously healed, right? So at 1 in 500,000, it happened to both of us. So we must have had the magic strain. We were really, really blessed. Can I help you? You know, we're live. This cat makes so much noise. And to be really honest with you,
she's huge.
I'm a cat guy. Like nobody you've ever met in your life. And I said this when I had Squirrel Nut Zipper. If you've been around a long time, you remember me saying this. There is no one on planet Earth that loves cats more than I do. Nobody. Quibs will tell you too. I mean, we would drive down the street like when I was living in Bug Tussle. And if I saw a cat on the side of the road, I wanted to stop the car and pet it. I love cats. However, I'm not a kitten guy. I'm really not. Kittens kind of suck. They're really, really annoying, right? They don't go to sleep enough and they tear things up. All they want to do is climb the wall, you know, scratch things, attack things, and they attack inanimate objects. They're just kind of frustrating. But when Squirrel was a kitten, she was 4 pounds, right? This friggin' kitten's getting ready to push what, 14?
Yeah.
She's like a 14-pound kitten, which is just freaking awful.
Insane.
Did I get any tattoos in prison? I did. I got a lot of tattoos in prison. All of this arm. So it's probably hard to see, but that is the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. That is the Cheshire Cat. Right here we have the Mad Hatter. Up underneath there I have the Dormouse. And on the back of my arm I have the Tulgey Wood. So I have basically an Alice in Wonderland half sleeve. And the best part of the story, kind of funny too, but the best part of the story is, you sure that's not a baby mountain lion? I'm not at all sure it's not a baby mountain lion. I'm telling you, this cat gets bigger every day. The cat wakes up, eats. You play with it, it stops and eats. Anything you do,
it runs to the food.
It runs to the food after every single thing it does. You've never seen anything eat like this. And she's kind of driving me crazy. Tommy brought these crazy cats home. Yeah, well, you know what they said? But they said, this cat's feral. You're not going to be able to catch it. It's already scratched some people. And I walked up there and Moose walked out, meowed, and got in my lap. If I'm lying, I'm dying. I squatted down. He just came up, crawled in my lap like I had owned him 25 years. Just such a great cat. Really, really such a great cat. But this one's driving me insane. Absolutely driving me insane. So,
Squirrel feels.
Right? Yeah, Squirrel. Well, but Squirrel was really a unique cat. The other thing is that Squirrel was a kitten when I got her, but she wasn't a kitten. Like she was 6 months old. And just because there's always new people here, in the early days of the lifeboat, I tended to lose my train of thought. I do it a lot now, but I did it constantly back then, really, really bad. And they called it squirreling off. You know that squirrel, like the dogs do. So when I said I'm going to get a cabin cat for the boat, then I'm going to go and get it from a shelter. And so we had go ahead and name the cat thing, and everybody was sending in all of their suggestions, and there was a ton of different names, very creative stuff, mostly boat things. And then someone said, "You really ought to call it Squirrel." Since you can't stay on subject ever. And everybody laughed their butt off. And it was instant because I used to let everybody vote. They voted on the name of the channel, right? I started off as the Tommy Scoville Show, and I hated that. And I told them day one, we just need a name. and everybody picked it. In fact, the biggest hater that I have on planet Earth named the lifeboat, which is kind of funny. But so everybody voted, and they said, you got to name it Squirrel. So I went down to the shelter, and there was only this one little room that I saw, and apparently there were hundreds of these rooms. But when I walked through the door, I only saw one. And I walked in, and there was only like 4 cages. And all of the cages had these kittens that looked like they came off of the postcards that you see, right? Perfectly symmetrical faces, right? Just absolutely the cutest little kittens in the whole world. And there was the tortie. And I got a thing for torties, man. I am a tortie loving. I love torties because of their attitude. They're just an amazing animal. So I go out, and I said to the woman at the front desk, I said, hey, I want the cat in cage 3. And she looked at me like I was the dumbest person on planet Earth. And she said, are you kidding me? And I go, no, I want her. And she's like, what room? I go, there are multiple rooms? She goes, sir, there's a card on the top of the cage in a little plastic thing. Just go get that card and bring it to me. And I was with my mom at the time. And I said to my mom, don't leave this cage, right? Because I don't want anyone else messing with the cat, whatever. I want this cat. And I pulled the card out, and it said Squirrel on the card. Swear to God, took pictures of it. So the channel voted to name the cat Squirrel. And when I got the name of the cat off the top of the cage, Squirrel was the name of the cat. What is a tortie? A tortie is a 3-colored cat. Like you've seen Squirrel Nut Zipper before, right? All torties look like squirrel, some variation of squirrel. The colors are always the same. And almost all of them are female. It is very, very, very rare that you get male torties. Hey, you did catch a live. Welcome. Good to have you here. Very, very happy that you caught it. Yeah, prayers for the transplant, please. Yeah, what are the odds of that? I mean, if you think about every single name that you could, yes, short for tortoiseshell, they look exactly like Ray-Ban Wayfarer tortoiseshell glasses or what you're seeing right here. It's the same kind of colors, those colors. And they have what cat lovers usually refer to as tortitude, right? A lot of times that's not great. There are some torties that really are, calicos, again, because it's a 3-color. Almost all 3-colored cats are female. It's not 100% thing. There are calicos that are male, but most cats that have 3 colors on them are going to be female. And I love moose, right? I love all cats, but if I'm going to get one and bring it home, it's almost always going to be a female. I really, really love female cats. And you kind of take a risk on a tortie, right? Because you can get some that are just, their attitudes sometimes aren't great. But Squirrel is the cutest and just the most loving animal. She has never scratched me intentionally ever. She got me once, right where you don't want them to get you. I was playing with this little bird thing on a string, and I was doing this to get her to jump, and it hit my area right below my belt, and she went for it and got me. I was in sweatpants, and I never played with that toy ever again. I threw it out. But she'll jump on my shoulder from the ground. Like once a day, Squirrel will jump, and I'm 6'2". She will jump from the floor onto my shoulder once a day. It's just something that she likes to do. She's a shoulder kitty, and I'll put an arm out like this. You guys have probably seen the videos. If I happen to have a sweatshirt on, I'm fine. If I'm wearing a t-shirt, every once in a while she'll get me, which is not the great thing. Hello from California. Good to have you, Callie. Really good to have you. Renee B says, I'm getting my kitty in 3 weeks. She's found on the streets at 4 weeks, and the shelter is going to put her down. Oh, I'll pick her up when she's 8 weeks. You saved a life. God, I love that, man.
Tell me about it.
God, I love that. You know why Squirrel Nut Zipper became the cat? Honestly, like my mom was there, and she's like, that's the cat you're going to pick? Now, again, I got a thing for torties, but they had signs. Can't put your fingers don't put anything in the cage. Are you kidding? Like I'm not going to, how the hell am I going to know if the cat has, so I stuck 2 fingers because I have the biggest hands in the world. A normal person could probably almost get a hand in the cage the way they were set up. I could get 2 fingers in there. And Squirrel came over and laid down on my 2 fingers. For real. And so the woman said, you want me to get her out of the cage so you can check her out? I said, please. And when they went to try to put her back in the cage, she started to climb up on me. There was a look of terror in this cat's face. And the terror was that she was going back in that cage. That cage was something that Squirrel was really unhappy about. It was really, really obvious. And the woman said to me, she just does not like cages. And I said to the woman, I got out of one about 6 months ago. I'll take this cat. this is
Hey,
my girl.
Jordan Bear. Read Jordan Bear's comment. That's awesome.
If I start singing Blue Bayou, I'm going to be upset. Blue Bayou, I don't know anyone here, but I just jump right in, and everyone is so kind. I'm 7 years clean, and methadone has saved my life. Nice to meet you. Hell yes. Congratulations on 7 years clean. Last night's show here on the Lifeboat, I celebrated my 10-year anniversary of no heroin. And I have used Suboxone. I've done methadone in the past, but this time, the one that worked, right? I've been trying for decades. The one that worked for me was Suboxone, and I'm happy as hell. And then let me tell you something right now, Jordan. If anyone ever tells you that you're not sober or that you traded one drug for another, get away from them. I mean it. Get away from them. It's one of my absolute biggest pet peeves on planet Earth. I am well and I am happy. Always, forever, for life. I am. Both of those things. Monk says, awesome. You know what? You're going to find a lot of people here, Jordan, that are going to be very, very happy about that. For real. That's great stuff. And we got a reputation at one time of being a sobriety channel. I hate that term. I really do. I'd like to think that we're a recovery channel or a living your best life channel. There are a lot of people that get sober through harm reduction. And I'm a fan. I am a fan. I am an advocate. You know, we had a guy on the boat in the early days, and he was just honest as hell. And he came on and said, I used to sell blow, right? Cocaine. And I don't play the games anymore. They want to demonetize me for I'm not going to come up with different names for the drugs. I don't care. But he said, I sold a lot of cocaine. He goes, and I rocked it up. He turned it into to crack. And he said, and had smoked it forever. And I said, how bad, was your habit? And he said, I was smoking 3.5, 4 grams a day. That's a pretty rugged crack habit. Right? I mean, it really is. I know people that have been worse, but that's a pretty rugged crack habit. And he said, I've been clean for 2 years. I said, that's awesome. He goes, yeah. He goes, I smoke weed. He's like, I probably burn a joint, sometimes 2 a day. And 2 people in my chat said to him, you're not sober. Ooh. And I lost my shit. I said, no, I'm sorry. What they said is you just traded one drug for another. Well, that's a hell of a trade. If you traded crack for weed, that's a hell of a trade. If you traded booze, right, for a joint a day or a gummy, don't let anybody tell you that you're still addicted or that you traded one drug for another. That's honestly, it's really awful stuff. People by accident do a lot of damage with that kind of talk. I used to do a show about once or twice a month called Stay in Your Own Lane, right? If you've been in recovery for any length of time, you will find that people get sober and instantly like to tell everyone else how they're doing it wrong. And for real, right? And it's really a frustrating thing to me because there are people today, about 300 of them in the United States of America, that are going to die from fentanyl overdoses. And there'll be a handful of those people who heard people badmouth Suboxone to the point that they would never try it. And instead they're dead. So I will throw people out of here really fast for that kind of talk. Jordan, you are sober 7 years. That is awesome. Doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't.
I think Jordan will be back tomorrow. I
certainly hope so. And you know what? Hit that subscribe button. You're going to find an awful lot of love on this channel. You came at a good time. You came at a good time. That's why I stopped NA, but I feel at home here. Jordan, I think there's a lot of people that will say the same thing. You know what? At one time, those were really fantastic programs. They really were. They were fantastic programs. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in NA that don't want to be there, right? They got caught with a 1/4 ounce of weed. They got caught with a dime bag of any other drug. They got caught with 3 Xanax or a couple of Adderall on a traffic stop. And every judge in the United States of America will mandate that person, male or female, goes to NA for a year or 6 months or whatever they decide. So where I went, I really tried for a long time to get sober. And twice I had a really, the trophy should arrive, I would imagine, within about 3 or 4 weeks. Although, to be really honest with you, we're kind of we're kind of running in the dark on that one, because I have no idea how long a package is going to take to get from the United States to where we live. You know, I am broadcasting from Ecuador. We recently relocated to the city of Salinas in Ecuador, South America, and absolutely love it. Mods are doing the Lord's work always. They always are. And you know something, on this channel, Johnny said some things earlier on his. My brother does a show too. He's kind of famous. I'm just a small YouTuber. Shout out. But he said something earlier. I'll tell you my favorite thing to hear. Honestly, my favorite thing to hear since I started doing this stuff on YouTube is when people say, "I've never gone to a chat where somebody made me feel more welcome. Your audience just." And we're kind of known for it. People pounce on new people, and it's a very sort of a loving and a welcoming crew. It's my superpower. It really is. I'm not the brightest bulb, but for whatever reason, really fantastic people seem to come together. You'll learn more from my audience than you'll ever learn from me. I think your theme song should be "Put a Little Love in Your Heart," Jackie DeShannon. You know what? I love that song. Absolutely love that song. I really do. Hey, Wendy, good to see you. Like both on TV and phone. I am really, really glad that you are here. Folks, I am looking forward to, I have a couple more days in this hotel room. This hotel room is almost to the square inch the Pepper Poppy. Hey, we got it back. We're really lucky. The internet here is not great. This hotel, same size as the cell that I lived in for over a year at Lewisburg. The difference is that there wouldn't have been a bathroom, right? The bathroom would have been part of this room, and there wouldn't have been a closet or any of that stuff. But it's not like it bums me out, but we have a lot of stuff in here. I hope I don't. It goes. It comes and it goes. Do we have it? Are we here? So it's having 5 suitcases and a really big Pelican case full of watches and 2 cats. One of whom is now just a little bit smaller than a Honda CRX. I am doing great, Pepper Poppy. I really am. In fact, I can't remember the last time that I was this good. Pooh Bear 007. I'm so glad to be back. I stopped following all the YouTubers I used to follow once the bickering and nitpicking started up. I walked away. I'm old. I don't have the time or the patience, but I'm back. You know what? You're a genius. You really are. Hey, Lisa Smith, you're a genius. I wish I could have done the same thing. Sadly, I kind of did. I did a lot less. I did a lot less stuff. And the first thing that I did was to stop talking to people in the chat. I came on and I did my show and I did not interact with the chat. And what made the lifeboat what it has always been is interacting with the chat. Always. You know, people would come in and say, "Hey man, I'm thinking about getting high." And whatever the friggin' subject matter was would go out the window. And people would just, you know, especially in the beginning, you know, the first couple of years, we only had 15, 17 people. But there were so many nights that you know, crew members would stay up all night, or I would stay up all night with people, and there was just a lot of love. I love this. I truly enjoy this channel. Been subbed for about 8 months. I just subbed to Johnny's channel to support him as well, even though I'm not a Pepper person. You know what? I'm not either, and he's been literally forcing them on me since I was 4 years old. Yeah. There's nothing quite like being his little brother, because people will go, "Wait a second. You're Johnny Scoville's little brother?" And I go, yeah. I got something in my house you got to try. And what they really mean is, I'm going to burn you, right? I want to burn you so that I can somehow honor your brother. I just take a handshake. If you ever meet me, just, I don't need any hot sauce. I don't need a super hot, any of that stuff. Tommy, I used to attend any meetings because my ex-heroin addict and his sister was a crack addict, and I wanted to learn what they were going through. You know what? You are an absolute hero. You're probably one of 50 or 60 people that have said that exact same sentence since I started this channel. And I think anytime somebody says, I'm going to go and learn something so that I can try to figure out a way that I can be, even if it's just more understanding, right? A lot of people, you stick around here long enough and you're going to hear people say, Tommy, you got me sober. I have never gotten a person sober in my life. I promise you I haven't. It doesn't work that way. The people that give me credit, I would not be here without Q. But Q was the first person I ever heard say to me, hey, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. If it wasn't me, it would have been anybody else here. You were ready to get sober. There's an amazingly odd thing about drug addiction, in my humble opinion, especially heroin. We used to say, he hasn't done enough of it yet. You know, I had friends that I want so badly for these people to be clean, you know, because I know how awful addiction is, but I just haven't done enough of it yet. And it's sad. It's a horrific thing to watch people go through. And I did it for about 3 decades. I've never been happier. Any special plans for my birthday? You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some things planned. My last year's birthday, I had so much fun last year on my birthday. I really did. I watched movies. I didn't do a damn thing. I stayed in bed and watched films, and it really was a beautiful thing. But we're going to have a pretty good time on my birthday. The beautiful thing is we will have been in our house for a very short period of time. The person that we bought the house from, it very often in this country, when you buy a house, I love this community where the 13 steppers, those with clean time who preyed upon vulnerable female newcomers. Oh my God, dope nose, is that a reality? Can't take advantage and harm those desperate enough to ask for help. Although, stick around, you'll hear people say, I've been doing that for years. It's one of the haters' favorite cries. Now, if you're wondering what the hell is the subject tonight, right? Is Tommy going to talk about anything in particular? I will say this. Today, the last of the stuff finally got moved out of our house. In Ecuador, very often, people sell their houses furnished. It's almost always sold that way. It's just kind of how it's done. And if you don't like the furniture, you got to go get new stuff, right? But they don't take the furniture with them. The person that owned our house, though, had a lot of art. And not my brother John, not my brother Johnny's brand of art. I wish you could see this idiot cat. I may show you guys in a second because this cat is just. But the amount of art that this person had in there, it's taken days to move it all out. And Johnny and I spent like a day and a half, and then some other people came in to do the inventory of it because some of this art was fairly expensive. So all of that is done. My ex wound up back in jail after doing 18 years, and he had done many bids. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, wow. I had to walk away even though I still love him. Wow. This has been clean. You know what? Sometimes you have to walk away. And especially when someone is continuing to go to prison. When they're on the street, sometimes it's different. I mean, people call me all the time and say, how many chances do you give a person? And you know what? You know, if the person's drug of choice is heroin, I stole from the people that I loved, right? If you left your purse, I was probably going to go through it and see if you had some bills I could peel. It's that kind of addiction. You know, I had to come up with $700 a day. I was a dirtbag. They don't hate you; they hate the addiction. But I understand when people reach out and they're like, "Man, if you knew what this person has done," I said, "Oh, trust me, I know. You don't have to tell me the stories. You really don't. I can tell you the stories, right?" He lied to you about his car needed fixing. I could go through the list of everything that most junkies do, and it's hard. It really is. But my answer is this: you give them as many chances as it takes, right? I thank God that my family never gave up on me. I gave them so many reasons to. And you know what? There's 139 people here watching, and there's a handful of them that I said some really foul stuff to. And I did it sober. I'm the kind of addict that would steal your drugs and then help you look for them. Dope nose? Yep. That's there was an old joke. The old joke among addicts used to be that a heroin addict will steal your wallet, but a meth addict will steal your wallet and then help you look for it. And it's not. It was more of the tweaker thing that they always had the energy and the stuff to run around. And I used to believe that I was different because of the drug that I did. And then I came to realize that we were all in the same boat. And I said that so many damn times that they started calling this the boat. My brother's channel was always called The Bus. And everybody started calling this the boat. And I said, well, we need a name for the boat. And we had a list of names that people were going to vote on. And the day that we were getting ready to vote, there was like 6 different names. Somebody said, you should have put Lifeboat on the list. And everybody was like, screw all of those other names. And they voted in Lifeboat. We are changing the name in 5 days or 6. We're changing the name to the Love Boat. And I'm going to show you why right now. Check this out. Ready? Don't move. Look at this. I'm a media master now. You saw the thumbnail, right? I'm just not very good at this YouTube thing. I'm not very good at this computer thing. Spent too much time in prison.
Getting better at it.
I'm getting better at this. Well, I'm not, but I could if you guys would help me more. No, I'm kidding. Check this out. You may have seen some of these people. If not, I'll walk you through it. Boy, this internet is slower today than me running. The alpha male creator phenomenon. From left to right, right? That would be my left, I guess, right? So the guy holding the meat up, we'll start with him, right? That gentleman just threatened Joe Rogan, right? That's the liver king. That thing he's got in his hand, that's a big ass chunk of raw liver. He claimed he got that big by eating raw meat, right? And just working out, lifting weights, and laying out naked. That's kind of a thing of his. He liked to sun his raisins. You know what I'm saying? Odd guy. To the left of him is a former inmate by the name of Wes Watson. Wes Watson has sort of been in the news lately because he would encourage his viewers to try to come down to the gym where he worked out and fight him. And a black guy that he referred to as a 7-foot monster. Now, the reason he referred to him as that is because he's 5'8", maybe 5'7". And boy, does he get salty when people say that. He claims to be 6'2", right? He's 5'8". I don't know why he would lie about that. And when he got arrested, on his booking sheet, it says he's 5'8", right? And he said, well, that's because they just take a guess, basically, and they write it down. No, you stand against a wall that has a big-ass ruler on it. Trust me, I've been arrested more than anybody, right?
The hill he wants to die on.
It's the hill he wants to die on, man. He wears Chuck Taylors with a 2-inch lift. I'm not kidding you. You can see it. It's the saddest thing. And he has basically faked, as a lot of these guys have. Now, the cat with the glasses on, you guys probably know him. He's also indicted. He's indicted in Romania, and he's got a case going currently in the United States of America as well. He got rich running cam girls, the girls that kind of like what's that crap called? OnlyFans, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a brother as well. His name just escaped me. What is his name?
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate. Thank you. Andrew Tate. And to the right of him is King Azuli. So everybody, right, except King Azuli, has a current case against them, right? An open current case against them. And in the last 4 days, it has come out that King Azuli has a really disgusting charge against him. Now, you know what? You got to be really careful when you say that somebody has a really ugly charge against him. I watched people accuse him of raping a girl. Now, I'm never going to come on and say that somebody has done that if I have not pulled that paperwork. If I have not read that paperwork myself. It happened in Sherman Oaks, California. I know exactly when it happened. I know that it was him, his brother, and another person. All of them pled guilty. This was a violent, horrific. I can't say the details on here. And not because this thing's already been demonetized for the drug talk and everything else. But what I will say is this. Any way that you could violate a person, they did, right? And this was a 15-year-old virgin. This is a fact. This is a genre now where guys come on and they lower their voice a little bit and they call themselves alpha males. Now, I'm going to tell you something. It's like saying I'm humble, right? I'm best at being humble. There's a guy that has a show on where he outs fake Navy SEALs. What's his name again?
Don Shipley.
Don Shipley. Don's probably in his 60s now, right?
Easy.
Right? He's a former Navy SEAL, and he's an alpha male.
Wicked.
That dude's never going to call himself one, but he's an alpha male. And you know what? I'd rather fight any of the dudes you just saw those pictures of than fight Don Shipley, who might even be pushing 70.
68.
Yeah. Navy SEALs, those are alphas. Because what they had to get through and survive, trust and believe they're alphas. Now, a lot of guys who go to prison tend to be fighters. And people will confuse fighters and alpha males or whatever. But now there's this genre. And my brother was talking earlier about, he did a show called We're All Guilty. And you know what? We are. P. Diddy is about to get sentenced to prison. Trust and believe he lost that trial. I'm telling you. Trust and believe he lost that trial. I'm not sure if you followed it after I stopped covering it. The defense did not call one witness. I'm going to say that again. The defense did not call one witness. Now, that happens often sometimes. When it does, it's because the person accused is going to take the stand. And they're going to talk on their behalf, and Diddy didn't take the stand either. He's going to lose this case, and he's going to go to federal prison. Right? Now, what's that German word again? Schadenfreude. The things that man has done that we all pretty much know for a fact that he's done, I want him to go to prison. Every time I went to prison, I was guilty. Every time. Been to prison 3 times. First time it was for possession of stolen property, right? The second time it was for bank robbery. And the third time it was for felon in possession of a bunch of firearms that I was selling. They like to call it gun running. To me, gun running is when you take crap to a different country. What do I think about Conor McGregor? I haven't done a deep dive, so I question it. I'll tell you what I think about Conor McGregor. There's a lot of people out there that defend him. He has a rape case against him. And there's a lot of people out there that defend him and say that the girl was willing. If you look into that case, the girl had to have a tampon almost surgically removed. I don't buy that was a willing anything. That doesn't usually happen that way. And look at the man's actions, right? Normally, people that screw up like these guys do continue to do it. Like this Wes Watson jackass. I'm sorry, but he had a prison show. And when he got out of prison, he did motivational stuff. Kind of like J.D. DeLay, who I love. I really do. Now, J.D. DeLay talks like those guys, but he's got a positive message that you can stay sober, that you don't have to be an ass and don't hurt kids. It's a pretty damn positive message, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And that's how Wes Watson started. He got out of prison without a tattoo on him, right? This is the guy, now he's covered. His entire head, his entire body, and his entire pitch is about how he's the toughest guy on earth. And that I'll tell you a couple of quotes that just have blown me away. He said, I don't read books. Nobody should read books. It's a waste of time, right? It doesn't get you anywhere. You might want to read a couple of pages and then get your gears turning, because that's really the way to learn. I'm going to let that one hang in the air. I think the 134 people here are probably smart enough to figure out everything you ever needed to know about the man from that sentence, right? If not, here's another one. He said he was a shot caller on a California prison yard. And I'll tell you something. If you want to claim that you were a shot caller on a prison yard, pick New Hampshire, right? For real. Pick Maine. And I'm not picking on those states, but California is a rugged prison system. And if you were a shot caller on one of those yards, then you were a gang member, an affiliated gang member. Now the man moves to Florida. And when he's getting the tattoos, he tattoos Miami on the side of his head. I did a little deep dive on this cat. And he went to prison in California. He did. Then they shipped him from California to Oklahoma to finish his time. And I'll tell you, there are not a lot of reasons they ship you out of the state that you're in. Not a lot of them. And none of them are good. Sometimes it's because you provided assistance right? Like you said, these guys are doing this, this, and this, and they got to get you to a different state because you're going to get hurt anywhere else in the, if he's, he can no longer be there. No matter what yard you put him on, they're going to reach out and touch him, right? And he's going to get hurt. Sometimes it's because sometimes it's because your paperwork sucks. Like you were a rat before you went in. I don't know the guy's case. I don't. I'm not going to waste the time on it. But he is really shipped for his safety, Renee B says. I'll tell you what, 90% of the time, they ship you out of there to make sure that someone doesn't kill you. I mean, honestly, that's usually what it is. Now, there are exceptions to that. Like if you really were a shot caller and you happen to be with one of the biggest gangs, I never say the name of the gang because I never was in one. And those cats, I don't want to disrespect any of them. I'm not here to talk about those. You guys know what the biggest white gang on planet Earth is. If you don't, it's a pretty easy thing to look up, right? But a lot of those guys got shipped into the feds because they continued to kill people. And the feds just said, you know what? We're taking them all out of the feds and we're shipping them, all out of the state of California and putting them in the feds. And now they are at ADX Florence in Florence, Colorado, right? The Administrative Detention Center for Men in Florence, Colorado, which is super max, because I did time at the super max in Florence, Colorado, but I didn't do it at the ADX. The ADX is across the street and it is hell on earth. You're not leaving your cell. Everything in there is made of concrete, everything, your bed, your chair, your desk, you never leave your cell. And to keep you from being able to throw string, we call it shooting a car, right? Because if you're in a lockdown unit, you take apart a sheet and you spin line in one direction, spin it, then turn it on itself and spin it the opposite direction. You basically make a rope, but a very, very thin one. And then you make a heavy weight. You can take a toothpaste tube and put weight in it. You can, all kinds of things. But you throw that thing out into the hall, and then one of your homeboys, he throws out his car, catches your string, pulls it into his cell, and now you guys can pass stuff. At ADX, they don't want any communication between inmates. So you don't have a cellmate. You're alone. And outside your cell door is a gap of about 5 feet and then another door. And it makes it impossible to fish, which is what they call that. You're just not going to fish. They don't take you out to shower. There's a shower in your cell. And people like the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, did his time there. El Chapo is doing his time there. This is a really, really crappy place to do time. But they sent a bunch of people from California there. That's not what happened to Wes Watson. Keep it real. I'm not going to waste my time even trying to look into it because this is the biggest phony on planet Earth. He likes to say he's got a Bugatti Veyron. I don't know how much you guys know about cars, but he doesn't own a Bugatti Veyron, right? He might lease one for a day. And he said that he owns the most expensive penthouse in all of Miami. Now,
His Miami tattooed on his head.
Now, I'll tell you something. I don't know if you ever looked at real estate, but there are penthouses in Miami that are $60 million. Trust me when I tell you Wes Watson didn't make $60 million. But there's a YouTuber that took the time to deep dive what this guy really makes. And all of them are fronting, except that the Tate brothers made that much money. They did. They killed it. King Azuli is a complete fraud. A complete fraud. They buy fake Rolex watches. They buy fake, Richard Mille watches and do everything they can to sell, right? To sell courses on how you can be just like them, right? And these courses are like $3,000 and $4,000 a month. What is the prison in Carson City, Colorado? I don't know. I did time in Carson City, Nevada, but I have never done time in Carson City, Colorado. The only prison that I did in, and if you're talking about Fed prisons, the only federal prison that I know of in Colorado is the Florence complex. Now Edgewood. My bad. There's another federal one in Colorado called Edgewood. I never would have had a shot at it. It's a really nice prison. It's for guys that weren't idiots. And I was an idiot. So, but there is one called Edgewood in Colorado, which is a fairly nice facility. And then there is the complex where the Supermax is, and that has a camp, an FCI, a woman's FCI, a woman's camp, a maximum security prison, then across the street a supermax. And the supermax people like to say is underground. It's not. But anytime they ever show any film of it, they show people driving down into the parking lot. And the parking, you do have to go down into it to drop off the inmates. What they did is they made it like a volcano, right? So they built the walls up so that there's no way you can look at the prison. It's like it sits inside a volcano full of dirt. They built the walls up so high. I mean, I did time across the street from it. You couldn't see it. It's designed that way, but it's not underground. That's a myth. It may as well be, because they make sure you are not going to see the sun, literally. Their goal is that you're not going to have any human contact and you're not going to see the sun. But if your dumbass is in ADX, you earned it. You earned it. I promise you. It is the last place that it's the number of people that are there are very, very small. And they are people that did some stuff that is just so, hey, New Zealand, good to have you here, Jamie. So over and above, right, that they kind of deserve to be there. But this phenomenon, my brother's talking a little bit about it earlier. These guys are ass clowns. I'm sorry. I don't talk about content creators. These aren't content creators. Make no mistake. People like to call anybody that makes $1 on YouTube a grifter, right? And I guess if that makes you happy, whatever. These people are grifters. You know how I know? Because I used to be a grifter. I sold courses for years. For years. I didn't sell these kind of courses, but as a public speaker, I went around the country. This is what I did, right? I sold courses on how to make money in real estate, how to make money on the internet, how to make money selling coupons, how to make money. I mean, name it. Travel packages. I can do this for the next 25 minutes, couldn't I? I probably sold 50, no exaggeration, different real estate courses. You guys want to get really pissed? No, I won't tell you this because it'll just get everybody salty. But I did this for a long time. So these people that are selling these courses, you get 2 days a week that you're going to be able to work with. Hey, is that air supply?
Found within the system.
Using techniques. Who said that?
Kristen Belinda.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What did you? Oh Lord. But I know the dirtbag that came up with that sentence. Changed the entire industry. See, here's how it used to work with those crazy infomercials that you watch. The testimonials had to be facts. So if you heard a guy that said, I made $75,000 in a month, right, using the course, the person actually had to buy the course, make $75,000. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? There was no friggin' course. So it was a very difficult thing to make an infomercial. And then a dirtbag came up with the phrase, using techniques found within the system. Now all you had to do was go find somebody that was making $20,000 a month doing anything and take what he's doing and put it into your system. Then find another guy that's making $25,000 or $50,000 a month, take what he's doing, put it into the system, right? Now they can all go on and make it sound like they bought that tape, right? Never buy anything that says you can make money. I promise you, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. Now, does that mean people are not successful? No, doesn't mean that at all. I'll tell you something. I sold a deal called Digital Landlord. Remember this? Digital Landlord, you used to buy blocks of, like if you wanted to put up a website, you could buy 2 pages or 3 pages or whatever. We would sell blocks that were so massive, it would blow your mind for almost no money because we knew that nobody was going to develop it. No one was ever going to use it. And after one of my pitches, I was having beers at a bar, and you never go to the bar in the hotel that you work at because you're going to run into the people you just pitched, right? So I'm 2 miles across town, and a guy comes, sits down right at the table. I'm like, crap, this dude was in the audience. Never forget the dude. In fact, we were friends for a really long time after this, but he said to me, hey, listen, I was in your pitch today. I said, yeah, what's up? And he said, that's a ripoff, isn't it? And I said, no. And he goes, why would you say it's a ripoff? He goes, you're giving a block, and I don't even remember what it was because I'm not good with that stuff, but I knew part of the pitch back then. Megabytes or gigabytes or whatever the hell they used to call it back then. He goes, if I buy it, do I really get that much space? And I said, yes. And he goes, and the reason that you can do it as cheap as you do is because no one's ever going to develop it. I said, yeah, exactly. And he goes, so if I buy it, are they actually going to deliver that? I said 100%. And he said, all right, if I were to buy double the package, would you give me double the space? I said, sure. I said, in fact, I got to talk to my boss, but I'll bet you if you buy double the package, I'll give you 4 times the space, because no one ever used anything that we bought anyway. He had a concept. It was kind of neat. Back in the day, if you wanted to go get a website and you wanted TommyScoville.com, you would go in there and type in www.TommyScoville.com, and it would say, sorry, that website is taken. And you'd go, crap. And then you try to think of another one. Well, this guy was the first dude to come up with the, I don't know what you call it, an algorithm, a program. I'm stupid. But he came up with the technology so that when you went there and said, TommyScoville .com, it said, sorry, that's taken. Here's 200 other options, right? 800 TommyScoville.com. In 4 weeks, he was the biggest seller of domain names on the internet. Bam. And I hear from him because we're getting ready to do the next infomercial. And my boss says, reach out to the guy, right? He's got to be making money. And I reached out to him and he said, Yahoo offered to buy me out. I said, you're kidding. He said, no, for $150 million. Now, I don't believe one other person that bought that program ever made $1. Not because they couldn't, but because, that you had to have a little something on the ball. But I said to him, congratulations. He said, I didn't sell. And I said, you're kidding. He said, then they came back and they offered me. I'm like, if this is 4 different stories, cut to the chase. He said, with cash in stock, I got almost 400 million. Yee. Right? And we used him as a testimonial in the next infomercial. And I had a lot of fun with the guy because I've never met anybody with money like that. Like he threw it around like it was fake, like it was monopoly money. Every single thing I ever sold, there was some guy that came back or some gal that came back and said that program was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I got rich. And you know what? You know why? Because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. People would raise their hand. I didn't lie. When I said I conned people, I did, because I knew what I was selling was horseshit. But if somebody raised their hand and said, what percentage of people who buy this are successful? I'd go, probably less than 1%. And if you don't follow the roadmap that we lay out in front of you, I hope you fail, right? We're going to make this so easy, but 90% of businesses fail in the first 3 years anyway. What's the difference? The difference is here, you can write it off as a tax write-off if all you do is blah, 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 out of the whole pitch, right? The whole pitch. They used to say, never say the word pitch. You say the word pitch, no one's buying. They know you're a scumbag, right? Never. Never tell them how long the program is going to be. Because if it's going to be an hour and a half, and they go, oh, screw this. I'm not sitting around for an hour and a half, right? Never tell them how long you're going to be there. And never tell them how much it's going to cost. This was the first rules they told me. And the first time I went on stage, I swear to God, I went out and said, hey, how you doing? I'm Tommy. That wasn't my name at the time. My name at the time was Brett. My name is Brett. If all goes well, this pitch is going to take me about 45 minutes to an hour. It's going to cost you $499 if you like what I say, what I tell you. And I swear to you, I thought my boss was going to have a heart attack. But by laying it all out right in the beginning, I actually did a hell of a lot better. And I used to say to people, if you fail, I hope you fail. We make this so damn easy. So was I doing the wrong thing? I didn't break the law on any of those. Boy, it was unethical, though. Holy crap, it was unethical. Paid really well, but it was unethical. What's worse? What's more dangerous, FCI or max security? Supermax is lockdown, so not super dangerous, I assume. Now, a maximum security prison, you have a cellmate, and you get out of your cell just like every other prison. A supermax is different, right? Supermax is you're on lockdown. Like when I was in Lewisburg, I got out for an hour a day. However, when I got out, I went in a cage with 6 other guys. And I swear to you, I'm not lying. I never once went to wreck that somebody didn't get either stabbed or in a fight. Not in my cage, but there were 60, 70 cages out there. And every day somebody was getting stabbed, beat up, and they were gassing somebody every single day. Now, I would have loved to have stayed inside, but the white boys had a rule about that. The only reason you could stay inside is if you were going to medical. I don't care if it was pouring down rain, you had to go out and you had to do mandatory workouts. It was a gang thing. And in the SMU, almost everybody's in a gang. So if you're not, you got to basically just live like you are. It sucked. I hated it. I really did. Johnny, Dale said that you and Tommy are going to get to try his cross. do me a favor, direct message me when this is over. You can do it at, or you can send me an email, tommyscoville@gmail.com. You can reach out to me on Facebook, anything like that. You have the name of the hospital he's at? If you do, I'd like to know it so that I can give it to everybody else. We'd like to send him well wishes and flowers and things of that nature. If not, please reach out to me because I do need to talk to you one-on-one. The FCIs are considered, they're about, the Pollock is see, these things change, right? They used to call it Bloody Beaumont, Texas, one of the worst places you ever wanted to be. By the time I left prison, they were calling it Buddy Beaumont, right? Because it just sort of became a much softer prison. So there's kind of an ebb and a flow, because once a bunch of people start really getting hurt, they take the people that are really causing the trouble and they ship them the hell out, and they really tighten down the reins. But across the board, FCI, which stands for Federal Correction Institution, is a much lower level of violence. And the reason is they don't really let gang members run there, right? If you're a real gang member, they're not going to let you on that yard. They'll let sort of the guys who are got 1 foot in and 1 foot out kind of thing. Like, they're not real. They may be gang members, but they're not hella hard. You know what I mean? But they're not letting, like, if somebody says, I joined a gang, and they say, where'd you join? At FCI Phoenix, they're lying to you, right? Because the real gangs will not let you join unless you're at a higher custody level, right? There's a term called putting work in. If you get to a maximum security prison, what they call a USP, this is a federal thing, not a state thing. At a United States penitentiary, USP, when you get in there, whatever your race is, whether you're a Mexican guy, a white guy, a black guy, when you get there, they go, you're fourth in line to put work in. And what that means is somebody is going to be a child molester, somebody is going to be a rapist, somebody is going to be a rat, and they're going to try to sneak through. Usually they'll just get there as soon as they find out where they are. They get off the bus and go, I'm not walking this yard. You need to protect me, and they go into protective custody. But you get some guys who try to slip through the cracks, and it never happens, right? There's just too many ways to chase people down. So they say you're fourth in line to put work in. What that means is when your number comes up, they're going to go, you got to go take care of that guy. And the truth is, you're not in any danger. They're going to send 2 guys who are going to follow you, stand right outside the cell while you go in and either punch this guy around or stab him, right? Now, if you're the guy in the cell, you're looking at a dude coming at you and 2 guys standing just outside. They're not really interested in fighting that, right? They're hoping those other 2 aren't going to come in, and they usually just sort of take an ass kicking or a stabbing. Honestly, that's usually how it goes down. But it's scary as hell the first time you hear it. I swear to you, man, I had to do it at Victorville. It's the only place I ever had to put work in. Seriously, never had to do it anywhere else. But when I got to Victorville, they said, I don't remember, you're 5th in line, 6th in line. And I said, can I jump that? You know, can I do the next one? And the dude was like, are you trying to join a gang? I'm like, no, I just don't want to sit in my cell crapping my pants for the next month and a half waiting for something. I'd rather just run into the fire and have it be over with. And, you know, I went and did something because they told me to do it. And it sucked, right? The person that I did had it coming. It was a foul human being that had been slipping through the cracks for a long time. Very foul human being. However, I would have been much happier if somebody else did it, right? But at FCIs, that doesn't happen. No one's ever going to ask you to put in work at an FCI. And there are FCIs that don't check paperwork. I mean, they do, but they don't. Like, instead of saying, we need to see your entire case, right? Instead of saying, we need to see your entire case, all of your paperwork, they'd say, show us your JOC. That's called your judgment of commitment, of confinement, rather. And you can find out a lot by that if you understand the system. Like, if it says, the guy got caught with 500 grams of methamphetamine and got 2 years, he ratted, right? Because every inmate knows that 500 grams of methamphetamine is going to get you 10 years at a minimum, piss minimum, probably more than that. So if you got 5 or you got 2 or you got 3, you ratted. And then on the 5th page, because it's a 7-page document, on the 5th page, it tells you all of your conditions upon release. You can never own a firearm again. If you get caught with a bullet, you're in deep trouble. You're not going to be able to vote until you're off paper. All of those. And then the 7th line on the 5th page says you either have to register as a sex offender or you don't. And if there's an X on that, they're not going to let you walk even an FCI. You're going to have to PC up, go into protective custody. None of them are safe. Even the camps aren't safe. But they're not what you saw in a movie either. They're not. And any of the guys you listen to on prison shows and they tell you that every single day they're fighting the hell out of everyone and all that. I never saw that, and I was in some pretty ugly prisons. The truth of the matter is, it's boredom. It's nonstop boredom until it's not. And once it's not boring, it's terrifying. And what drives you insane is that waiting period. And you spend most of your time playing cards, laughing, lifting weights. But when it goes bad, it goes bad. And you see people get killed, and you see things that you're never going to unsee. And a lot of times it's so unjust. The thing that drove me most crazy about places like Lewisburg was a young white guy would come in, and the gang members would go up and put their arm around him. You want to get high? And the guy would go, yeah, I don't have money on my books. Don't even trip, dude. These guys will front it to you. You don't have to pay for 6 months, 8 months. They don't care. And that's the truth, by the way. And they would run up the debt as deep as they could get the guy into debt. And then when he couldn't pay, they would beat him up. The guys that put their arm around him, they would go to whoever he was buying the stuff from and said, we'll take care of this. And you'd watch him smash him off the yard. And you'd realize that this is how these guys have been getting high for decades. It's disgusting, right? And the expression used to be kill whitey, because the white gangs, they weren't going after any other race. They were always stabbing each other. Now, I didn't get into any of that crap. I never once tipped up. I don't have one piece of political ink on my body. And there are people out there that'll tell you that guys that don't tip up, or tell you what, I'd die before I'd put a swastika on my body. No disrespect to the people that did, man, that's your decision. But I would die before I put a swastika on my body. I mean, that is the symbol of hatred. If there is a symbol of hatred, and it didn't used to be, I know what it is. I know where it came from. But boy, it got hijacked about 1937, 1938, got really ugly. And I wouldn't want any of the other symbols that they all have either. I wouldn't. So, but that's just a personal thing. Don't, like my brother was saying, I watch Wes Watson videos. I don't watch the videos he makes. I watch the videos people make about him getting arrested. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm looking forward to watching that fool go back to prison. Because the lies he's been telling on YouTube, people tend to think the guys in prison aren't watching YouTube. No, they're not. They're not. I mean, there may be 1 or 2 guys with phones. There may even be 10 guys with phones or whatever. But here's what's going to happen. There are guys watching YouTube today who are going to get arrested tomorrow, right? And they're going to know exactly who that guy is. There's no place he's going to be able to go where they don't know where he is. And he has been doing these stupid, I'm an alpha male, toughest dude on planet Earth. The only guy dumber is King Azuli, the guy who it's come out that he's absolutely a convicted rapist. But this guy, the stuff he says, he got in a fight with 30 guys. I'll tell you something, man. There's not a man on planet Earth that 30 8th graders, right? You couldn't fight 30 8th graders. The stories, people will say, yeah, I fought 5 guys in prison. Then you got your ass kicked. I promise you. 5 guys came in on you in prison, you lost. 3 guys come in on you in prison, you lose. If you won a 2-on-1, you're a stud. It doesn't work like that, man. While you're fighting one guy, the other guy's going to get you. It's not like Bruce Lee. That shit doesn't exist. So when you hear these guys telling that story, the people that are watching them are kids. They're young enough that they don't know any better, right? And they haven't had a girlfriend yet, and they hear this guy saying, I've got a Lamborghini and I've got a $95,000 a month house. And they don't realize that they're renting this stuff for a day. They're literally renting the house for a day, and they're going to film in it as long as they can, or they'll rent it for a week or a month, and then they're out. Watch how these guys put up content.
$35,000 a day to rent a Bugatti.
Yeah, you can rent a Bugatti for about 35 grand a day.
But you got to put 150 down on it.
Did you know playing cards are prohibited in Texas state prisons, but not jails? Good God. You can't play cards in Texas state prisons? What the hell do they do? Seriously, what the hell do they do? How does anybody make $1? Right? That was my hustle the whole time I was in prison. I played a lot of poker. Not because I was good. I don't mean I'm a good poker player. I don't suck, but I'm no genius poker player. I ran the table. So as people are betting, right, with chips, I'm taking chips out of every single pot running the table. And for that, what they get is I got a cooler full of soda, right? And I'll make nachos and stuff like that so that they got stuff to eat while they play cards. You know? Chris, good to see you. That was my hustle always. It was easy money. Unless you're stupid. I watch guys run poker tables and then they would play every single hand, right? No matter what they had. Like I folded every hand. Unless I had bullets or something that was definitely going to make me money. Put that 35K into right, and retire rich. It's amazing, right? Now the guy made money. I mean, Wes Watson has made millions of dollars doing this. He's made millions of dollars, but he has claimed to make hundreds of millions of dollars. And when this 7-foot monster, as he described him, came to the gym, Wes Watson took off his weight belt. And when if you've ever worked out, weight belts are made of leather. They're really thick. And more often than not, they've got metal on them as well to reinforce them. And where you put the buckle on in the front, it's massive. These things weigh. He used it as a weapon and slapped the dude in the head with it a bunch. And then everybody started firing on him. 4 guys jumped on this dude. He never threw a punch. They estimate that Watson punched him in the head 35 times, right?
50.
That was between the kicks and the punches. But he's going to prison for a long time. Like, he's going back for a long time. And under the worst of situations, like, you've been lying for so long. Your friend's father was a guard at Lewisburg. Wow. His name isn't Stacey, is it? My favorite prison guard of the entire time I did in prison was at Lewisburg. His name was Stacey. He was a great dude, man. An absolutely great dude. Libras are lucky in gambling. I'm a Cancer, and I did not rely on luck. I just didn't play a lot of hands. I've got, if you're the house, I'm going to make money on every hand unless I happen to lose money on betting. So I just didn't get into a lot of them unless I had a really great hand. But Lewisburg is the toughest prison that I was ever at. I mean, toughest up here. It was, Victorville is probably more dangerous because you're out all day and there's a lot of the drugs there were so cheap. No joke. I could get a gram of heroin when I was in Victorville for $100. In most yards, that's like $750, $800. And it was $100 a gram. I mean, and I come in and I sit, you have to go through SIS when you first get there. And they say, can you walk this yard? You sure you never ratted on any of these people? Right? They will kill you. And they try to talk you into, to make sure that if you're in any danger, you're not going to go out there. And I sit down in the chair and the guy says to me, he looks at my file. He goes, ooh, heroin, huh? I said, yeah. He goes, well, if you accidentally drop a book of stamps, someone's going to be handing you a bag of it. And I go, well, I'm actually going to be trying to get clean here. He's like, there's more heroin here than there is in the street. By the time he was done talking, I was screwed. Honestly, I was screwed. I was like, man, I'm itching my arm, right? He's halfway through the speech. I'm like, oh boy. Not the guy, but from what I understand, he was pretty cool. Harvard educated, which I thought was pretty wild. Here's the thing with, I met a lot of really, really unusual prison guards. A great deal of them come from the military, especially when we're in conflict. Like when the guys were coming home from Iraq or the guys were coming home from Afghanistan, first shot they got. If you want to go to work for the state, working for the United States of America, you can go into the Bureau of Prisons. Probably not the greatest idea, honestly, because a lot of those guys came back with rugged PTSD, and then you put them into the situation. But for the most part, what's on my T-shirt? Are you kidding? You may find yourself. This is the lyrics from the Talking Heads, a song by the Talking Heads. Yeah, great band.
It's a good band.
Kristen Melinda, if you're wondering, I did an interview with Kristen Melinda where she talks all about it. Yeah, love the band. This is from the album Stop Making Sense, one of the all-time greats of the 80s, in my humble opinion. Been a weird day. Tommy Bird, I love you, my brother. Love that song, says Jeremy Fowler. Me too. Rocket Queen says, sweet. All right, people. I am about at the witching hour. If I do this any longer, Squirrel Nut Zipper's not going to talk to me for another day. And I'm telling you, my cat will hold a grudge longer than a human being. So if I don't go do something with her, it's going to get ugly. Thank you for your support. If you are listening and can't leave a comment, come back with an AKA or whatever, right? A lot of people got blocked by people who weren't me. And there was a period of time that was so ugly that people who had wrenches, who cared about me, blocked people that didn't say things. They blocked people because they knew those people may have said something somewhere else. And that's never been a policy here. But there's only a handful of people that I really am never going to let anywhere near this channel. So shoot me an email. Let me know if you'd like to participate. The more people that are participating, the better. Now, that being said, I used to get, no lie, like right now my emails are at, I'll tell you real quick. We'll see how far behind I am. Then this is not bad. There we go. 40,847. Now, all of those are not lifeboat stuff, but I am wildly behind. And for a while, everybody hated me. And if you sent me an email, I was answering it instantly. Now I'm going to have to ask people to be patient with me again, because there's a lot of people that have come back and a lot of people who are reaching out, and I am going to get to everyone in. But here's what I said back in the day too. If you're writing to say it's great to be back, I love your stuff, anything like that, I love it. If you're in danger, like if you're struggling really hard with dope and you need to get clean, if you're stealing, selling yourself, if you're in one of those kind of positions, right? I really need help, right? Put something in the title that's going to stick out like Wednesday in the middle of the week. And the people that help me are going to get that to me before other stuff, right? Because you don't have to wait in line. It's triage. You don't have to wait in line. If God forbid, if you've been on the boat long enough, you know that there are stories of people that I read the email too late. It's just kind of one of those things, and I don't want that to ever happen. So put something in the heading, for the title that lets me know that that's the position that you're in life, and trust and believe that we're going to reach out to you and do it quickly. People, I love you guys. So we're going to call it a night. Between now and the next time that we see each other, put a little love in your heart and reach out, right? And just try to help somebody. Try to leave the earth a better place than you found it. And the fact that those clowns I just showed you, right, have the views that they have, says some really negative stuff about this platform that we're sitting on. My brother said earlier, he made a great point. My brother said, if you were going around a corner and on a bus and the person said, hey, listen, you're going to see some ugly stuff when you get around this corner. There's just been a bus accident. There's kids involved. It's ugly as hell. It's out the right side. Whatever you do, don't look, because you're never going to be able to unsee it. Probably 80% of the people would look. The 20% would look away. YouTube isn't going to let those 20% look away. The algorithm is going to shove hate down your throat, even if you've never once clicked on it. But if you click on it, you're telling them, hey, I dig it. People say, it's hard to donate money. Sometimes I can't figure out how to do it. It's not hard to hit subscribe, right? And do me a favor. If you really do want to see more love, then just leave a comment afterwards. All you have to say is more love. If that's too much, just put a heart. But we need to send a message to the big red button, because when this platform started, there was a crap load more love. It was a really kind of a nice place to be. And it's turning into a cesspool. It really is. It's turning into a platform that rewards people like Johnny Somali, who go to other countries and scream at people, or people that go into grocery stores and grab bug spray and film themselves spraying down all of the fruit. Kind of sickness. But you know what? People watch it. And that is a really, really ugly thing. You know what, B. Hendricks, I love you. A great way to end that. Somebody just turned green, and you can thank B. Hendricks for doing it. And tomorrow night, we're going to be giving away, I think, 10 of them.
Yeah.
5 of them, 10 of them, something like that.
10 each.
Yeah, 10 each. So between now and then, people, put a little love in your heart. Seriously. Not for me, right? For you. I promise. Everything we do for a reason. If you're watching hate, ask yourself what you're getting out of it. What is it delivering? Or what is it taking away? Is it taking away the misery you got in your life? Because if not, I promise you there's a better way. If that's the shit you're doing, right? Love works a whole lot better. See you on the next one. I love you. Good night, everybody.